Hi, parents. This is Coach Kimmel, and this year we are doing our fall parent meeting through a video. So I'm going to try to move through this material as quickly as possible, but provide general information and instructions for cross country this year. So I'm going to use a PowerPoint. I'm going to jump back and forth between PowerPoint and some other documents, and then there'll be a Google form for you to fill out to verify that you have watched this video. So I'm going to go ahead and load this PowerPoint, and here's kind of our agenda for today. The program philosophy, I'll talk a little bit about coaching staff, the forms, pay to play, team rules, varsity letter, schedule, and COVID restrictions, and Spirit Store. And if I do not cover something, please email me or call me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I didn't cover in this presentation. So first of all, Tippecanoe Cross Country. The Tippecanoe Cross Country program started way back in 1958. That's what the little 58 with the trident here represents. That was the first year that Tipp had cross country. It was in 58. Don Scott was the coach of that team. So we've been around for over 60 years. Our philosophy, the team philosophy, is based on the acronym of ETA, which most people relate that to is estimated time of arrival, which you go to an airport and you see when your flights are estimated to come in. But ETA for us stands for effort, how you treat people, how you behave as a teammate, and your attitude. And when you put all those together, what our goal is a program is to create a thriving environment. And I really try to hammer this home with the kids. I know everybody has mission statements and goals and pillars and this and that, and some people make fun of them and don't take them seriously. Well, I do. I take these seriously. These are three things that you have complete autonomy over. You always have control over how hard you do something, your effort level. You always control how you treat people and react to them. And then you can always control your attitude. Your attitude basically is your mental habits. You can control those, you can develop them. You putting these together, if people maximize and bring these together, it is a commitment. Commitment means to bring together. You create a thriving environment where kids can show up and feel accepted and empowered and grow physically, mentally, and emotionally within our program. And that's what we strive to do. It doesn't always work out perfectly. Some people have their own agendas when they join the cross country program. Some people come for just, they hear it's for fun and games. Oh, we have a lot of fun, and they show up and they don't want to work. And those kids will battle with me, and it's a struggle, and sometimes they don't come back. I guard these very closely. Some parents encourage their kids to do cross country because they hear that there's a lot of good kids there. It's a good environment. But the kid necessarily doesn't really like running and doesn't want to work hard. And we have to try to accommodate that. And it is often a struggle to get those things ironed out. But we don't give up on these kids. We hope that they grow to love this sport, but more importantly, we put them in this environment. So that is our philosophy of Tippecanoe Cross Country in our program. Our coaching staff, moving on, we only had one change. Coach Culver is continuing to be the head track coach, but he is no longer going to do cross country. He still comes around, runs some with the kids, shows up. He's got young children, and he chose to be home with them. His wife went back to work. So being involved in back-to-back seasons is tough and demanding on it. So we miss him, but we gained Coach Lieber, who is a teacher at LT Ball. He ran cross country in high school for the Sydney Yellow Jackets, and he's stepped right in and done a great job for us. Remaining members of the staff are the same, and as well as the junior high level, we have an outstanding coaching staff with a lot of experience, a lot of passionate runners. So that's our 2020 coaching staff. Moving on to the forms, the pay-to-play fee. Received notice from the high school that pay-to-play, they're going to be a little more lenient on that because of COVID and getting that in. You can set up payment plans with the high school if that's a struggle. I know some people have lost jobs, had to, take hits in terms of financial. Well, everybody's felt the ramifications of the pandemic. But typically the high school fee is 100 and the junior high is 75, and that's supposed to be in before the first meet. In terms of practices, we are 3:15 to 5. Right now, a high school is relegated to Kyle Park under our current stipulations in our phase 3. We're not allowed to go to Charleston Falls, which we did once per week. And Charleston Falls, I don't think wants us there with the social distancing because we have 89 kids. So right now we're kind of stuck. We do practice sometimes on Saturday when we don't have a meet, and those will be from 8:30 to 10 a.m. The locations, like I said, we're stuck at Kyle Park. Forms, the main thing we're lacking on right now, I think about all the kids have physicals in. We need you to get on and do the info snap and register so we can get the emergency medical forms and have those for the first meet on Monday. There were about a dozen people that we didn't have that in. Those in, and the snap code was emailed to you. I sent out an email regarding that. I had trouble finding it myself, but because you get a bazillion emails, but I was able to locate that and do that. So we need to get that done. Those forms are all available there in the through the Snapcode system. So that takes care of our forms. Now we're going to move on to team rules. I'm going to jump out of this PowerPoint and pull up the team rules sheet and go over that. The biggest thing that I deal with as a coach is just attendance. Having a large team, it was not a problem when I first started. I remember my first couple years, we had my first year we had like 12 boys and 18 girls, something like that, when I took over the program. And of course now it's a lot bigger, and we didn't have, it was easy to catch somebody that didn't show up. And as we've gotten larger, this has become more and more of an issue in regards to attendance. So most of the rule infractions that we have are through the attendance and just not showing up or not having valid reasons for that. So everybody will have a copy of this form. You can read it. I'm not going to insult your intelligence in it. I have had to, and if we look here at the attendance policy, I have had to kick people off the team or remove them from the team for doing that. I've had to do that several times, and mainly it's just from skipping and not showing up at practice. We've had people get ineligible and before, not too many, but we have. But that's primarily what we did. We had some issues last year where I didn't suspend some kids from meets for not following directions and practices. I reserve the right to do that. And I can skip these levels, or the coaching staff can skip any of these levels here. There's a little disclaimer down here, and depending on what the severity of it, we go right to it. And we have done that sometimes, but not very, very often. Are examples of, and there's going to be more about attendance. I've had to put in more things each year on the attendance. It seems like it's constantly challenged. And real quickly, I don't want to go into a long germade about this, but it seems like as I first started coaching, and this is my 13th year. When I first started coaching, it wasn't that big of a deal, but the last like 3 or 4 years, I'm constantly dealing with jobs, dance team, club swim, lacrosse. Things are non-school activities that are not sponsored by Tippecanoe High School that are, kids are involved in. It's okay to do those things, but you have to make a commitment. And being part of this team is not a loose commitment. And I think we've tried to impress that upon the kids, but it's really been difficult to get people to buy in. And I've had kids miss a practice to study for a test. Oh, I've got an AP test. I did. I have had that twice. This kid just said, oh, I can't come to practice. I got, because they put off uh, things and procrastinated to the last minute. We always get, when all the AP work's done, we'll get kids that cut practice because they wait to the last minute to do their AP work. That's not acceptable. That goes right into the discipline policy. And they could end up getting suspended for a meet or even booted off the team for doing something silly like that, not managed, lacking some self-management skills there. So I actually had to put that in there. Studying for a test is now, if they want to go to a study session with a teacher, or they have a tutor or anything of that nature, by all means, that's okay. We'll work something out. I know Mr. Bellis has a lot of study sessions for A Push, and I always allow kids to go to those things. But that's, again, that's on a case by case basis. The other thing there is leaving to go to a job, dance team, club, swing, like lacrosse. Like I said, I've had to put these in. The dance team has been an issue. That always kind of pops up around the 1st of October or late part of September. That starts heating up, and then the dance, and they're passionate about what they do. They demand that the girls be there at a certain time. Well, they haven't finished their commitment to cross country, and you got to finish what you start. And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm okay to work with them. If you had to leave 5 minutes, 10 minutes early, I might be okay with that. But we were getting people wanting just to cut right out. It seemed like at 4 o'clock. We're really not near done at that point. And it created a lot of stress, and it zapped a lot of my energy from it. And if you're ready to go to dance team at that point and it starts up, then your season's done. Then you can finish at that point and move on and do the dance team. I mean, if that's a passion of yours. So that's I haven't dealt too much with club swim, a little bit with lacrosse, fall lacrosse teams. I've had a little bit of problems with that, but bottom line is you got to be there. Band members, we have a schedule worked out. Mr. Park's been great with that. We've always worked out the schedules with them. He's easy to work with. Multi-sport athletes, we have a soccer player. I work the schedule out with the coach. And some people don't particularly like that. You know what? I came from a school where that's what we did. Brookfield didn't have a lot of people. On my high school cross country team, we had 3 soccer players. We had 3 in our top 5, and we needed them. I mean, we needed them. Yeah, with the other kids that were there all the time, and people would say, "Oh, well, you're just trying to win." Well, yeah, we keep score. We do. This is a competitive thing, and that if the kid wants to run and do both, it usually is a very similar type athlete. They can. We work out schedules with them, and I've probably had over a dozen kids do both throughout my coaching career. And I could have very easily been one of those too, because I kind of, football was something that I wanted to do, and cross country, and it came, and that's a tough decision to make, and try to do. That would have been an interesting thing to do both of those, if not many have ever done that. Then the fall play always rolls around, and quiz bowl rolls around, and then we have to work out schedules for that play practice. Here every year we deal with the play practice thing, and it seems like the dance and the play practice thing always hit right around our home invitational. That's why I make that the end of the year for some people. You're done at that point. We're concentrating on going after some team goals at that time, and I'm getting drained by a lot of these attendance issues for these other things, and I just don't want to divert that much time. I don't think I should be. This is a commitment you should be in for cross country till it's done. I'm willing to work a little bit with trying out. We had one of the drama club guys was really easy to work with, but he left after a year. I liked the way he handled things. and he would give me the scripts, and he could show me when this kid needed to be there. When it was awesome. And then the next person that came in did do that, and it was very difficult to work with. So that's something that's going to be a case by case basis that we're going to need to cross that road when we get there. But it has been an issue with it as well. I have more information on the attendance policy and this document. Everybody will get this in an email. Bus rides, you got to ride there to the meet, but you don't have to ride home. And in fact, we'll talk about it in COVID. If you have to get a ride there, you have to have a special form that the principal has to sign to be able to get transportation to an athletic event. But riding home, we have a sign out sheet that the coaching staff will provide, and you just sign out your name and go. We're not going to use the bus release form anymore because of COVID. They're encouraging people to ride home with their parents, and that would just be a huge hassle. Cell phones are permitted on the bus, but we ask that they don't play music on them. The kids will do that once, and I shut it down pretty quick. A bus driver's got to concentrate. They've got 50, 60 kids in there. They don't need to listen to loud music. They can bring food and drink on the bus, but they can't eat or drink it on the bus. They're pretty good about that. Meets. Athletes will know the day before their next race what time they'll run. We're waiting on some of those times to come in. They're responsible for bringing their own food with them. And runners are expected to cheer on for their teammates when they're not racing. There's a couple other things here. Then, like I said, I have more information about this attendance policy on there in it. So look through that. I'm going to move on to, I believe, the next thing on here. We have varsity letter. So I'm going to actually go to our website for this. If you haven't been to the website, tippxc.com, this is what it looks like. And your best bet is to click on this little area here called Start Line. And when you click there on the Start Line, it's going to bring you to a plethora of different links for documents. And you're going to go down here to Varsity Letter Point System and click on that and pull up what that document is. We use what's called a point system for the Varsity Letter. I put this in because our program has been very successful. And therefore, we had people who would have been a varsity runner on another team and didn't letter. So if you get 300 points and through our point system, and the summer points carry over, they're added to the season points, and if you accumulate 300 points, you earn a varsity letter. And this system here shows you how you can do it. You can get a copy of this and look at it. You guys can all read. I don't need to go through that, but the point system has been a very popular thing for our program, a very good thing, because it gets some kids who've really worked hard to just haven't quite cracked the varsity lineup, and they deserve that varsity letter because they're running at a very, very high level. So that's the varsity letter. At the schedule that we have, I have posted the schedule on our website. So I'm going to go out to that real quick. And our current meet schedule right here, if you click on that, that pops up. This is all I got. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff missing and things are changing each week, it seems like. I'm going to try to keep this updated. I pretty much got these two are nailed down. Our first two meets are, so the times are pretty stable there for that. But after that, I haven't gotten this information yet. And I'm really proactive on these things and finding out. So this is driving me nuts not to know. I like to have this stuff all filled out until you guys way in advance. So as soon as I know it, I'm already been bugging these other coaches for it. But as soon as I do, then I will release that information to you. And then we're going to go on to everybody's favorite thing, the COVID restrictions, and so that you can understand what's kind of going on with this. So we're going to go back to the PowerPoint right now and go to this COVID restriction page. Okay, so here we go. Attendance at the meet. Right now, we are told from the OHSAA and the OATCCC, that's Ohio Coaches Association for track and cross country coaches, their recommendations that only people that are close to the family attend meets. Well, that's pretty much anybody who already attends the meet. So I don't know really that's what the governor said also. I think being that we're only MVL and we're kind of in a bubble, I don't really think the attendance is going to be a problem. So if you want to come to the meet or a neighbor wants to come watch or whatever, I think you're fine. I really do. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. But you have to wear a mask at the meet from the moment you get out of the car and to the moment you get back in the car to leave. You have to have that mask on when you're at the course site. You have to have that on. Here's some other things. Parents are not to be in the camp area near the tent unless maybe you set the tent up or whatever. We're not taking a tent to the first meet because we're in a shaded area with a tarp. Parents can't be in the finish area. You're not allowed to go and go to the finish area and corroborate or talk or whatever around at the end of the finish line where a lot of people like to gather and talk about the race. That's tough because that's a great moment to kind of connect there and share the experience, but you're going to have to do that away from the finish area. They just don't want a big mob of sweaty people, and that's where the things can get transferred pretty easily. Parents are not allowed to be near the start line. That's never really an issue because you don't want to be trampled anyways. We usually parents are usually pretty good about getting out of the way at the start line. That's not an issue. Parents are encouraged to take your child home after the meet. That is, and our stipulation is make sure that you do your cool down like the coaches tell you. A cool down is a short, brief run after the race. It's good to the blood to kind of flush out the system after you've run. Otherwise, you're going to get pretty sore the next couple days, and then the opportunity for an injury could pop up if you don't do cool downs. And they need to check with a coach, and we'll have a little binder there that they can sign out to go. So we encourage parents to take their child home after the meet. It just makes it a little safer. But to the meet, they need to ride the bus because we want everybody there at the same time. Because some parents are very, very prompt and some are not. And as a coach, that would be very difficult to handle if we kind of waiting at the start line and one of our runners is not there and we're wondering where they're at, and that's just not a good thing. So we're going to just say ride the bus there. On the bus, they will be wearing masks on the bus. That is a rule. And there's 2 to a seat, which is normal, but they are to wear masks. We will check their temperatures as they get on the bus, and we will record that. There is a document that we have to record as before each trip to the meet. So those are the COVID restrictions. If there's anything else, we're not providing water. We cannot do that. You're going to have to bring your own water. They're not to be providing that. So that's important. They all have it there for emergency situations, but as far as going over and grabbing a cup or whatever, you're going to have to bring your own water, and that's something that the kids are going to have to be responsible for. Is to bring that along. I would get one of those bigger, thermoses. I don't know what you want to call them, but not just a typical water bottle. That's probably not enough water. I get something a little larger for that. So those are our COVID restrictions. The last thing, and some people have been asking, and I'm going to pop out of this, is our spirit store. I have waited to do the spirit store because I didn't know if we're going to have a season. I really didn't want to set all this up, and I wasn't sure if we were going to have a season. So it's looking like that's going to be a go. So we're only going to offer 2 items here. The kids will all get a free base t-shirt. It's a gray shirt this year. I already got their sizes, and the order's been put in for that. But if the kids want to order one of these, they can, or parents can order these. And the choices that we have are a 70s throwback Ringer shirt. This is modeled after the 70s teams that were awesome. They were back-to-back state runner-ups in 74 and 75. Just legendary team there. And they actually raced in the shirt like this. It had to have been hot with the majestic sash there. Here's the specs on the shirt. It is kind of a dry blend fit. They call them a Ringer shirt. And over here, it's $15, and then you can choose your sizes over here. So you can get as many as you want for that. So that is available. And then the other option, the girls really wanted this tie-dye shirt. And that one is a cotton, 100% cotton. And to my knowledge, I don't know that they do a tie-dye tri-blend. I don't know that they can do that with that type of material. But that is and it's spelled right. Apparently, when I sent out the first version of this, I had Tippecanoe misspelled and cross country spelled, and they just slaughtered me on that. And I guess they should have. There's no excuse for that. Anyways, that's what the shirt will look like, and it will be spelled right. So I'm only going to keep this open for about a week because we want to get these back soon. So if you want this, you're going to have to, you'll pay online for it, and we'll get that order in and back as soon as possible. Same thing over here. You can choose the sizes for this tie-dye shirt here. So I didn't know that moved like that. Anyways, I think that's about everything that I have. When you fill out the Google form that is in the email, you will have to put the name of your name, the athlete that you're representing, because some people have different last names, and I got to know who your person is, who is doing the form for which athlete. And then I put a couple of trivia questions in there just to make sure you didn't just click on the form and not watch this. So if you were listening carefully, you might be able to answer both of those questions. And we hope this is a very successful season for us. We have had a lot of strong tradition in the past. Both teams made it to state last year, which is pretty cool. That's happened 4 or 5 times, I think, when both teams make it the same year. That's awesome. The first time that we did that was really sweet. That was in 2013. We did that, and both teams won the regional meet that year. And we were the first team to do that since, I think, 2000. Cincinnati Taylor did it. We did it again in 2015. Both teams won the regional in Division II, and both teams finished second in the state that year also. So we're the only school that has had double regional titles in school history. That's pretty cool. And the girls have a streak going here of state meet appearances. The first time the girls ever made it to the state meet was in 2010. That was my second year. That was a really cool historic moment. The girls qualified for the state meet in 2010. That was the first year. But then they have been going to the state meet every year since 2013. So we have a nice streak going on there. There's no pressure. There's a nice streak going on. So we look forward. Hopefully we have a postseason. So thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them my way. But I'm looking forward to having a great season, at least for having one. Thanks.